Hello, 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 everybody. It's Nikki, and as you can see, that is not Ivy. We thought we'd switch it up on you guys today. Just wanted to apologize for not being live on Wednesday. Life happens, and life has happened this week. I have had a challenging day and almost didn't make it today, but I didn't want to let you guys down. So I want to introduce the writer and creator of our book, Black Spasms, Dr. Leslie Browder. So, Les, why don't you take it away?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I've had an opportunity to watch the podcast. I've been out of town for about 3 weeks, and I've been able to just sit back and enjoy what I've been hearing from both Nikki and Ivy. So thank you for watching us. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for, being in this journey with us together. So, I'm excited to be here with you guys and looking forward to having a great session with you guys. So let's give you a little bit about Black Spasms. And as Ivy has said before, we just came up with the term. Well, actually, it hit me and I ran it by her that, a buddy of mine was actually going through some challenges at work. And, he had gotten fired from a job. And I had also gotten fired from my job. So I said to him one day, I said, you didn't have a back spasm, you had a black spasm. So I was like, wow, I need to write that down. So I ran it by Ivy and we just started talking about it. So, we know what a back spasm is, and for those who've had an opportunity to experience it, but for those who haven't, it's just a very crucial pain. So came up with Black Spasms, the pain and discomfort associated with being Black. That was in 2014. So, with the climate being the way that it is in America now, and it has been over the last, for the longest time, but with things that are taking place now, I decided to come up with, Ivy decided that we should say the pain and discomfort associated with being Black in America. And here we are now.
Well, Chelsea says, hey, Les.
How are you?
Okay, so now that we know how you came up with Black Spasms, tell us about the book.
Okay, I've been working on the second book for a while now, and it's interesting because we made an executive decision to actually go back and revisit the first Black Spasms, and then we decided to add to that. So I came up with a concept that said Black Spasms. Instead of saying Black Spasms 2, we said Black Spasms looking forward to the past, looking forward to the future and going back to the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the old book, we talked about certain things. There was a chapter in the old book that said, don't renege. And that came from the idea that I was actually on 95. And driving by, I saw this bumper sticker. This is the time in which Barack Obama was running again against Romney.
Okay.
And one of the drivers had "Don't renege." DONTRE-RENIG. That's not how you spell renege. So I looked at it for what it was. So we talked about don't renege. We talked about Black on Black spasms. We talked about Black spasms in relationships. And we talked about people like Eartha Mae Keith. A lot of people know her as Eartha Kitt, but it's Eartha Mae Keith. We talked about Frank Wills. A lot of people called him Frank Willis. Frank Wills was actually the Watergate security guard.
Mm-hmm.
Basically was just doing his job. And in doing his job, he just basically he saw a piece of tape that was on the door.
Mm-hmm.
He took it off, made his rounds, came back, and that same tape or another piece of tape was there again.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about things like that in the book. And then I wanted to move forward, or but now we're actually revisiting the past. You know, we're going back to lynching, and they say the more things change, the more things remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually going back to the past, or moving forward with the past, with all of the brothers and sisters that are being executed, with some of the rights, the uncivil rights that
Mm-hmm.
we don't have, um, and we wanted to merge the two. So I'm looking forward to, myself personally, how the book is going to play itself out, because I didn't want to just talk about things of the past. I wanted to talk about things in the future that are from the past that are still affecting us in the present, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a chapter that I call, "Are we revisiting this SHIT again?" And SHIT stands for suppressive, harmful, intrusive thoughts,
Mm.
which I actually got from listening to Dr. Ray Hagan's. And it's not what we think it is, but suppressive, harmful, intrusive thoughts. And yes, we are revisiting those suppressive, harmful, intrusive thoughts. And in that chapter, I talked about the Constitution, and I called it CONSHIT TION. Well, I think so. Constitution. And are we going through that? And it seems like what we're going through is a con. One of the chapters, and I'm not going to tell you, I'm just throwing it out because I want to get you excited. Talks about, do you see? I wish, you know what? I don't want to have my book in front of me because I don't want to tell you everything.
I know it's hard. It's hard.
They say, do you see the pedestrian level of your thoughts? And I got that from watching Law and Order a long time ago. And this guy was walking. He said, "Do you see the pedestrian level of your thoughts?" And I thought about, how I can engage that with Constitution and suppressive, harmful, intrusive thoughts. And that when you look at people like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, and just some of the things in which they're saying, it's like, do you understand what you're saying at this time? And it's like, you can't. It's impossible for you to understand what you're saying. Do you see the pedestrian level of your thoughts? And, we are really revisiting the past. The more things change, the more things remain the same. You ladies were talking about, and we've encouraged many people to write us and to let us know about their Black spasm.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Black spasm. We had moved down to Northern Virginia, and there was a cross that was burnt in our yard.
Mm.
This is in Northern Virginia, and I know people in the South that have never had a cross burnt in their yard before, and this was in the early 70s. And that was quite amazing to me. It's been documented. It's in the old book. It's on record. It's on file. The FBI did come out to do an investigation at the time, and we found out years later that it was the next door neighbors. They had their involvement. So that's like one of my Black spasms, and there are lots of Black spasms. One of the things that really, really, really pushed me to write this book, I was working at a high-end retail store. It was real different, and something that I've never done before. And I was the highest salesperson in my first year there at $316,000 within the first year.
Wow.
Within the first year, the highest salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
That was year one. The second year, I was the third leading salesperson from Short Hills Mall, New Jersey, all the way down 95, going across to Fair Oaks Mall and the Tyson's Corner. Now, the location that I was at in Washington, D.C. we closed at 7 o'clock every day and 5 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we didn't have mall hours. I came in third. I was beat out by two individuals who worked at the Tyson's Corner location,
Mm-hmm.
and English wasn't their first language. So what does that tell you? Had I been at that store, I could have doubled my sales. So I was fired. I was fired because if you understand anything about the type of retail that I was in, when a customer comes in, you cater to them, you have to, let's go with shoes. A customer comes in and they pick out a pair of shoes. They're watching it, and we're watching them as they're picking out their shoes. So what we do is we watch them, and we'll bring a black pair, a brown pair, and an additional pair. So we had to bring out 3 pairs of shoes. So you have to complete the sale. 3 pairs of shoes. You need socks. You need the belt. You need the shoe care. You need shirts, and you need the sweater, and that's considered your unit per transaction. Now, with me, I'm the type of person, if you tell me no, then no. No is no. I'm not pushing. So if you come in, you say, hey, Les, look, I'm in a rush. I just want this pair of shoes. I got to go. I'll come back and see you later. No problem. What happened was I was dealing with those type of customers. And I'm not pushing a product on you, just like we're not pushing black spasms on people. We want you guys to experience it. But what happened was, because my units per transaction were down. So would you rather me sell an extra pair of shoes, or would you rather me sell $316,000 worth of merchandise for you every year? So, and I've even had customers. I had predominantly white customers that were actually writing into corporate. One gentleman said, I know my shoes. All my life, I've been wearing a size 10. I came in and Les had me in an 8.5. And at first I thought he didn't know what he was talking about. But after putting the shoe on, he knows exactly what he's talking about. So I looked at that as an opportunity for me to, and what I said to my manager at the time, I said, well, instead of you, just firing me, why don't you relocate me to a different store?
Right.
Maybe I'm not the problem. Maybe it's your management style. Of course, they fell on deaf ears.
Of course.
The good thing about it, it led me to write Black Spasms. I just had a child at the time, and she was hanging out with me, and I started thinking about her. She's on the cover of the book as well. And I wanted her to understand that no matter how black you are, you're not better than your light-skinned brothers and sisters. And no matter how light-skinned you are, you're no worse than your dark-skinned brothers and sisters. And that the information that I'm writing in this book is going to be for you, because what I've learned is that they're not teaching this in school anymore. They're not teaching this type of information at all. So I wanted her to understand that there's going to come a time where you're going to need to reflect on how things were. Because the way things are going now with the eradication, not of black spasms, but with the eradication of names on schools and statues and buildings, they're taking these things down. But what are you doing with them? What about the history? What about Jefferson Davis Boulevard or Jefferson Davis Highway? So in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, is America going to look like this? And people really won't know the true history. Because when I tell people that right around the corner, where my mother lives, where we used to live, there was a cross burnt in our yard, they can't believe it.
Wow.
I know. I just had to get it out.
No, that's great. I mean, this is what we want, our listeners, subscribers, and followers to know, that, we have Black Spasms, and I'm pretty sure that they have, Black Spasms. I'm pretty sure that they have a ton of stories, that they could tell us. I'm just in awe that happened in Virginia. Northern Virginia at that. I mean, Northern Virginia, I think of Arlington, Alexandria,
right,
places like that. But
but what happens is, it's like the more things change, the more they remain the same. We actually, and I documented this in the book. When we moved down to Northern Virginia, it was almost segregated. I was born in '69. This was when 76, maybe 77 when this happened. So when you look at the makeup of Northern Virginia now, what do you see? You see a lot of interracial relationships, but let's go back, let's go back to a point in which, people were getting killed for even engaging in interracial relationships. So you're not really, the true story isn't being told here. So when you have kids who are growing up now, especially black kids now, and who engage in interracial relationships, they don't understand what took place and why you have those relatives that may frown and be like, nah, you may not want to mess with that white girl, young man. It's like, nah, Dad, you don't understand. The world has changed. Yeah, but maybe the world has changed, or maybe they've never seen it like this before.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like I said, I'm 51. You know, I haven't seen a lot because, you know, I was born in the 60s, but I'm moving right into the 70s after August. But some of the things that we were able to see, I was just in Wise, Virginia for about 16, 17 days doing a project. And I was actually in Donald Trump country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deep to me. I mean, that was deep. I didn't see a lot of black people there that was there, you know. And just imagine if that's how things used to be back in the day. And to a
Right.
lot of black people, that's how things really were, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the spasm that I'm talking about in terms of getting fired from a retail job versus having a cross burnt in my yard can't compare to the spasms that our ancestors don't compare. Our ancestors
Right.
dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
My great-great-grandfather dealt. Hell, my father could have dealt with these spasms. So no spasm is greater than the other. It's just that, you know, we're coming back. Breonna Taylor, is that not a spasm?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a big spasm,
Yep.
you know?
It is. It is. And she still hasn't had any justice. I know that my mother went through a spasm. My mother is very, very fair skinned. When I was growing up,
So is mine.
everybody thought that I was adopted. They thought that I had a white mama. And she
Okay.
had the long wavy hair and everything. And so she dropped me off at school and people be like, "Oh, I didn't know your mama was white." Like, my mom's not white. My mom is black. But when she was growing up, she remembered that she was in the car with her parents and the Klan was chasing them.
Okay.
And no, I'm sorry, not her parents. I think it was her grandparents. And my grandfather, while driving, grabbed her by her leg and pulled her off the seat and like tried to shove her under his seat.
Okay.
And he told her, no matter what happens, you don't come out.
Okay.
You don't come out until I tell you to come out. And they stopped them and harassed them for a little bit. You know, they eventually let them go, you know, with no harm. But that was traumatic.
Right.
I mean, you know, you're 6, 7 years old and this is what happens. And you see the fear in adults who are supposed to protect you. So, you know, I asked my mom, I said, well, how was it? She said it was scary as heck for me. You know, and she said, but it was even scarier for, you know, my grandparents because they didn't want any harm. Well, my granddad, because he didn't want any harm to come to his wife or his grandchild.
Right.
So, but my mother has always been what I call a hellraiser.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we had family down in Appomattox, Virginia, and there was a bar across the street from the house that my mom was in. And my great uncle told her, don't stay here, don't go across the street. Not old Hellraiser. What she do? Go right across the street into the bar.
Right.
And just think of like an 8-year-old just going to the bar and just standing there looking around. And her uncle comes out the house like, where'd she go? And he looks across the street like, no. So he runs across the street and he was like, didn't I tell you not to come in here? And so I guess he was the owner of the bar. He looked at my great uncle and he said, boy, you better tell that girl what happens, you know, to your kind. You come up in here like that. And my mother just didn't understand. You know, she's a kid and she just wants to have fun. She wants to play. And she's living in a time where you can't do that. I mean, there's certain places that you can't go. And so it made me think, oh my gosh, like how, if I grew up back then, like how do you explain to your kids, you know, that only us can only blacks can use colored and you can't go to white and this, that, and the other, especially if the kids aren't old enough to read and this, that, and the other. It's just,
You know, when we watch a lot of movies
mm-hmm.
and we watch slavery movies, we say things like, I wouldn't take that. If I was living back in those days, I would tell them, man, you don't call me no boy. Yes, you would. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would. And because what's going to happen in 50 years when another generation comes along and they watch our documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, Philandro Castillo, all of the brothers and sisters that have gotten murdered, you know, they may say, you know, with all the technology, with the advancements in civilization, you know, ain't no way in the world they should have took that. You know, I wouldn't have taken that if I was living in that era. You know, keep in mind, we're handcuffed. Unfortunately, we're handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a son, I have a daughter. You know, I'm worried about her just as much as a parent is worried about their son.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mentor told me years ago, we were sitting at Barnes and Noble. He said, you know, we're now at a time where when they used to fear black men, now they fear black women.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming at black women the same way, if not harder, than they're coming at black men. And I mean, look at all the sisters that have been murdered. Sandra Bland.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all of this. And so what happens, and we talked about, and there was this, I'll say thing, and no disrespect, you know, black men don't support black women to a certain degree, you know, and what I said, black people need to support black people, period, you know, especially during this time, because Dr. Joyce DeGruy said in one of her lectures, she was saying as they were raping women, and the husband was there and he was shackled and he was tied down. They were raping and buck breaking men, and they were saying, yeah, we're doing it. What are you going to do about it? Hey, Allison, you know, what are you going to do about it? And sometimes our hands are tied. We are taught that when you see the police, keep your mouth closed, put your hands on 10 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but sometimes that doesn't even work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is why I believe that Black Spasms is necessary. I think eradicate Black Spasms is necessary. IOU, which I'm looking forward to, because I just had that on lockdown. And
I know we don't know about it. That's
creativity. We talk, and she goes into the room, and she doesn't come back out until it's done.
It's done. Yep.
And it's like, you know, eradicate, and you know, eradicate this BS. You know, let's put that in the Constitution. You know, eradicate these Black spasms, the pain and discomfort associated with being Black. Now, watch this. What happens in the next 5 years when they say eradicate Black spasms? The pain and discomfort associated with being associated with anybody that's Black.
Mm.
You know, so now you have white mothers, and I have a client, mother's white, father's Black, and the white mother is worried. She said, I have a Black son.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they've dropped this issue off at your door. I don't think anyone knew that they were going to be signing up for this when they decided to marry someone of that was Black. Because now this is your problem too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Achiana Jefferson. Remember that was a young lady who was playing video games with her son,
mm-hmm.
and she heard the tap at the window. And the police officer shot into her house and killed her. This is just, I don't know. But I wanted to ask your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you've heard that Ice Cube has written a contract for I can't talk today. He's written a contract for Black America, right?
A contract.
Yes.
Okay.
So I believe that. Hey, my bro Warren. What's up, Warren? What's up, bro? Thanks for joining us. Our problems have to affect them. So it's 20, I think it's 23, 26 pages. He got together with some lawyers and stuff. Well, yesterday, social media just blew up because the administration had come out and thanked him for trying to get both sides of the aisle to come together. So the Republicans and the Democrats. And a lot of people have called him a sellout. You know, you make a deal with the devil, this, that, and the other. And I took a step back And I look at it a little bit differently, and I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but I really don't care.
Right.
You have to talk to both sides, because if we want anything to change, both parties have to be involved. And people were saying, yeah, well, he's come out and, he's basically said that, he hasn't denounced white supremacy and he don't like blacks and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. Well, when are the talks going to happen? Are we just going to continue to sit behind a keyboard and type away and bitch and moan and complain about this, that, and the other? Or are we going to actually come together and try to get this thing worked out? And a lot of people were saying that they were quoting Malcolm X saying that our black celebrities aren't our leaders and this, that, and the other. Well, who else is stepping up to the plate? I see all these people saying all these things on social media, but what are you doing?
Right.
Besides sitting and complaining on social media, what are you doing to try to help the black community? So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I saw that as well. I took a step back too, because what I did not want to do is come from an overly emotional perspective and just jump out there, but have some deep thought about what he's doing. One of the things that came to my mind was this, from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Said it's all about money, and a damn thing funny. You got to have a con in this land of milk and honey, right?
Hey, yes.
And celebrities are not our leaders,
right?
Just my personal opinion. Celebrities are not our leaders. Yes, they have the platform. Yes, they have finances. They have the resources. They also have the ear. A lot of people, social media is their only outlet, their only platform for them to type and speak from their heart. We do need someone that's going to speak to everyone and be heard by everyone. But when you come from Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube, and I just don't see them being the ones, because and trying not to put how I feel about that, but I don't see any of these celebrities being the one. But they have the opportunity, they have the resources. There are a lot of people out here that can think, that do think, they're deep thinkers. They have understanding, they have insight. They just don't have the resources, and social media just so happens to be their only resource for them to communicate and talk about what's going on and affecting the Black lives of America.
Well, this is what I hope. Like you said, they have the money, the platform, they have people's ear. My thing is, if you can get to the table, at that point, you need to bring in the leaders, because sometimes you have to do it in an unorthodox way.
Right.
If, let's say, he's able to get a sit down with both sides, then that's when they need to bring in some leaders from the Black community to sit down to speak for us. And if he can do that, if he can get that done, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
You're right. Whatever we can do, but this is something that we have been going through forever. And that's been, Malcolm went through it. Malcolm was having his dialogue. Martin Luther King was having his dialogue. We've been doing this. But let's go back to, let's look at Harry Belafonte. He was a celebrity that was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the time they were a little bit more serious, and I'm not, but see, when you have millions and millions of dollars, Kanye West had an opportunity to go meet with the current administration. Jim Brown, had an opportunity to go meet with the current administration. Did they bring anybody in? Did they bring in, Farrakhan, which you're not going to be able to do? Who did they bring in? Steve Harvey had an opportunity. He has what it takes to get the ear of the current administration. What about the grassroots folks out here that no one's ever heard of, that would be looked upon as being crazy, that can speak to the collective consciousness of everybody that's dealing with these issues? And I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get off this bandwagon. Dr. Ray Hagan says, who loses when black people win? If black people were to start winning, who would actually lose? One of the questions that I've asked and I continue to ask is this: are black people too broken to be healed?
I've asked that question too. I have asked that question too.
And not to cut you off. And here's the second thing: is the system broken, or is the system operating the way it was designed to operate? Are black people too broken? Are we too broken to be healed? And is this system broken, or is this system the way it's supposed to be?
Or are we too bitter?
Who's we? Black people?
Yes.
About what?
No, I'm saying, you said, are we too broken? I'm being broken. Some of us, some are bitter. I'm optimistic.
I'm angry.
That I have my moments, but I'm an optimistic person. I say hi to my sis. Hey, Tracy, thanks for watching. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. I'm really hoping that we can, but I'm also a realist, and it just right now it doesn't feel that way. Especially, last week we lost Jonathan Price, and it's like, what else do we have to do?
Right.
How many more of us have to die before, it matters? These are people's children. These are people's fathers, brothers and sisters. And it's the same thing with COVID. Like, when is enough enough? When is enough dead bodies enough?
Well, let me say this. For years, our scholars, Dr. Amos Wilson, John Heinrich Clark, Malcolm, they were telling us that there was going to come a time where there was going to be a war on black people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're in that war.
Mm-hmm.
But the war has been going on for such a long period of time. Now we're in that war.
Mm-hmm.
Or as Gil Scott Heron said, the revolution would not be televised. The revolution would be live. And
exactly.
So I like the fact that you're optimistic. Hopeful. To me, hope is not a viable solution. If you go back and if you listen to, I think, The Naked Soul of Iceberg Slim, right? It was in the first Black Spasms. There was a conversation between a liberal and a conservative, and they were talking about the word hope and how hope is not a viable solution. We give you hope.
Mm-hmm.
There's a joke. The joke says, this guy is driving for an interview, and he's driving, he's running late to the interview. And he said, God, if you can help me find a parking space, I promise you, I'll go to church every Sunday. Oh, never mind, God, I just found one. Right? How many times have we been driving somewhere or going somewhere and said, man, I hope I can find a parking space. I hope I get that job interview. I hope I'm not late to work. I hope this person isn't dead. Hope is not a viable solution. I'm like this. What's going to be is going to be. That doesn't mean that we sit back and do nothing, Not at all.
Right.
You know, hope is what most people only have. They only have hope. You know, and I'm not here to take that away from them, but we keep hoping that we're going to get treated differently. We're not going to get treated differently. And remember when Richard Pryor said he went to court looking for justice, and that's what he found, just us. You know, we're going to have to communicate. We're going to have to be open-minded. We're going to have to be objective. Instead of calling Ice Cube a sellout, you know, understand what he's doing. You know, what's his modus operandi, and then be critical in your analyses of him, not before. And this is why the only thing I can say is it's all about money and the damn thing funny. You got to have a con in this land of milk and honey. Constant. I said shit to
yes.
Con shit to oppressive, harmful, intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's awesome. That boy, you can said a mouthful today, Les.
I'm trying to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? You know,
don't listen. That's listen.
Right. No, I'm talking in terms of everything. You know, there's so much going on out here, you know, and everybody has something to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's to the point where you just sit back and you like, you look at it because, you know, is this thing real? You know, are we dreaming? Pinch me to see if it's real. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sounds like nah. It's to the point now. Are we actually waking up, wondering who's going to be the next victim? I mean, you know, and I'm not a parent that's gone through having a child killed. I don't know how that feels.
Me neither, and I pray I never do. I pray you never do.
Yeah. I can only conceptualize it. How much information can we provide to our kids 10 and 2 when you're driving? Yes, sir. No, sir. Don't speed. Pull your pants up. Driving while black. Sit up.
Don't have your music loud.
Don't put on classical music while you drive. Put on some jazz. Not that smooth jazz either. You know what I'm saying? And let the music deal with you. Always be mindful. Have your situational awareness about you. But you can do all of that and still come up on the short end of the stick. Let's go back to what Ivy and Chelsea put together. He was helping. She was sleeping. They were praying.
Yes. He
was jogging. What about he was just black? She was just black.
He was buying candy.
Buying candy.
You know, it's a scary thing to think you send your kids out to play and they might not come back home.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scary thought. It makes you just want to hold your kids close to you and never let them out of your sight, but you can't do that either.
No, you can't.
You can't do that either.
We can't keep them isolated.
No.
Gil, may I read something?
Sure. I was going to ask you if you read an excerpt from the book. This is from the first book, y'all.
The first book. This is what Gil Scott-Heron said. In his song, it says, we beg your pardon, America. We beg your pardon, America. We beg your pardon because the pardon you gave this time is not yours to give. They call it due process, and some folks are overdue. We beg your pardon, America. Somebody said, brother man going to break a window, going to steal a hubcap, going to smoke a joint. Brother man going to go to jail, but the man who tried to steal America is not in jail. We beg your pardon, America. We beg your pardon once again because we found that 7 out of 10 black men are behind bars. And it seems that 7 out of 10 black men behind bars are black. 7 out of every 10 of these black men never went to the 9th grade and hadn't had $100 for a month when they went to jail. So the poor and ignorant go to jail while the rich go to San Clemente. We beg your pardon, America, because we understand much better than we understood before. We don't want you to take the pardon back. We want you to issue some more. Pardon brother Frank Wills, the Watergate security guard. He was only doing his job, and now he can't find him.
Right. That was the other thing I wanted to go back to, is that he was on all these talk shows and this, that, and the other. And he wasn't right after that. I mean, he He lost his job. He couldn't get a job afterwards, and
Let's go back. Howard University wouldn't even hire him. Howard University would not hire him after he uncovered. And when people, the slogan, do your job, do your damn job. Had he not done his job, his life could have been different. Because if you read more, I didn't write everything, but if you read more, he had to sell, well, I don't know if he sell. I mean, his mother died and they were poor.
Mm-hmm.
He got arrested because his friend was the cashier. Now let's go back to some things. Let's go back to the way the more things change, the more they remain the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black people have been eating leftovers for years. People, period, have been eating leftovers for years, right? They came up with this new concept where we can package the food that you made on Sunday and you can eat it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We won't call it leftovers, we call it meal prep. Think about it. You can go into Whole Foods. How many stores in DC now? Well, DC requires that you pay a 5-cent tax on bags, a bag.
Yep, Montgomery County too.
So you can actually walk into the store with your own bag. Now keep in mind, certain places when you come in, you check your bag at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have it to where you can actually put your food in your bag while you're at your cart and walking around. And then once you get to the counter, you can also do it as well. Frank Wills had a friend who was the cashier. He wanted to buy her a pair of shoes and wanted to surprise her. He put the shoes in his bag and walked her to the register. Don't you know he did time behind that? The more things change, the more they remain the same. What would have happened 10 years ago had we walked into a grocery store, a convenience store, with a mask over our face? The more things change, the more they remain the same. With that being said, look at where we are now. It's 2020. You lynching Black people in a different way now.
Yep. Different type of rope.
Same concept, same mindset. Are we revisiting this SHIT again? And yes, we are revisiting this SHIT again. Constitution.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are. Well, I can't wait for the book to be released, both books, so that everybody can read your awesome work. I actually love talking to you because you get the brain going. You get us, you get us thinking in a different light. Next week, I will be doing probably a 2-week series on voting.
Okay. I'm curious. One thing that I'll say to the audience is that we are a team. There are 4 of us looking for expanding, but we don't override each other's opinions and mindsets. I'm curious to see what Nikki says about voting. We differ, but I respect what she has to say. I'm not going to tell you my views on it. I want to hear what she has to say, but I will say this. What I don't like is when, for those who don't vote, when they're confronted, that cigar looks good, by the way.
Thank
when
you.
They're confronted, we always get, well, our ancestors died so you could vote, right? Our ancestors were murdered for us to have an opportunity to exercise the vote if we decided that we wanted to vote.
Oh, we're going to cover all of that. We're going to cover all of that.
Let me say this. Our ancestors also died so you can read and get an education. So, I tell people, don't be out here telling people you need to go vote, but you ain't got no book in your hand. Or if they ask you, what's the latest book that you read? And you're like, but yeah, I look forward to this whole 2-week series on voting. Yeah. They may persuade me to do things or not do things.
Well, I just, I watched some things. I saw some videos and it actually inspired me. I mean, you know, I told Ivy before we started this that I definitely wanted to talk about voting because I know a lot of people whose family members said that they weren't going to vote and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, wow. And one thing I will say is this. I hear a lot of people say that I'm not going to vote because my vote doesn't count.
Gotcha.
Oh, really? Oh, it doesn't? Okay, so riddle me this then. Why voter suppression? If your vote doesn't count, why are they trying so hard to silence you?
Right.
If your vote doesn't count, why all the false propaganda out there? Why the fake ballot boxes? You know, why the misinformation? Why is it that you were able to vote in the primaries, but now the general elections come and you've been dropped off of the voting registration list? So, you know, when you ask them questions, they look at you like, huh? But I'm diving into to some things. I started, what's today? Friday? I think I started Wednesday. And yes, Alan, we talked about this Wednesday. Allison says, watch the movie Wag the Dog.
Wag the Dog, okay.
And I've not seen it, but basically she was saying is, while the dog is doing this, something else is happening over here. And I always tell people, everything that's going on is a smokescreen because they don't want you to know what's really going on behind the curtain, you know. And I told Allison, I said, you know, they've put in over 216 judges in 4 years. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't read. A lot of people don't do their homework as to what's going on. Voting is more than just having your voice heard. There's a lot behind voting, and everybody thinks that, you know, the general election is the granddaddy of them all, the primary. So I'm breaking down things. I got some sample ballots. I'm just, you know, I'm diving deep into this because.
You want to mention the Electoral College in next week as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, because like I said, I'm interested, you know, because I'm always looking and listening for that communication because we need all that we can get. And I'm going to check out Wag the Dog as well. And like you said, you know, it's looking at, we need to stop looking at what we can see and look at what we can't see.
Right, exactly.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
Understand that, you know, some big things taking place, but we get caught up in minute things, you know, minuscule things. The whole thing with Ice Cube and what he's doing. Let's not lose focus. You know, everyone has an opportunity to communicate based on how they feel. That's how he feels. So, you know, I'm going to check out Wag the Dog. I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks. You know, I'm sit back, I'm chilling, I'm listening.
Oh, the pressure.
Like me, please, you know. But you know, it's crazy out here. You know, I was at a store today, and this guy said I was the only black person in the store, and he was talking. He's like, "Yo, you know, the Democrats are mad because they actually want a politician as the president."
They actually what?
They want a politician as a president. You know, he's not a politician. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm like, that kind of makes sense. You know, so maybe they need to rewrite the policy that you don't become a politician when you step into politics. You need to be a politician, or you need to be into politics before you become a politician, if that's even possible. You know, so yeah, I think we will actually like to see a president who has some type of political background. You know, but keep in mind, we are in a capitalistic society right now.
Oh my gosh.
Going back to what I said, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. It's all about money. And a
damn thing funny.
You gotta have a con in this land of milk and honey. And when I was young, I used to think he said car, but it's a Congress, con men. You know what I mean? So
convict.
Convict. You know, how, you know, what's a convict? Is that not an oxymoron? You know, like, what is it? Criminal justice. You know, what about non-criminal justice? But like I said, it's rough out here. Enlighten me, please. You know, because I look at it from two different perspectives. Sometimes I think it doesn't work. You know, the primaries. You're right. The primaries matter. Your local officials, the ones who are helping you pave the roads and school systems and school boards, and then there, it grows and grows, and by the time we get to where we are, it's like, but where did this person come from? This person.
I'm gonna get into all of that. I'm going to get into all of that.
Shut up.
No, don't. I mean, I'm just saying, but you are expressing what I have, I guess, what I have thought and what I was exposed to on Wednesday, and I was just like, wow, right. just wow. And my boyfriend always tells me, he says, when we talk, you act like this stuff is new to you. And I said, you know what? It is new to me. Hey, sis. Because I was one of those ones who, because it didn't affect me personally, it didn't matter to me. And I believe that a lot of people out there are like that, because it doesn't affect them personally. It doesn't not happen in their life. So right. It's not important. I was one of those.
Gotcha.
But I woke up.
Gotcha.
And I this is sad for me to say, but this show is about being organic and being honest. The murder of George Floyd woke me up.
Why?
Because
I'm sorry. How?
No. How?
Not why. How? I know why. How
right.
woke you up?
Because that was the first time that I had gotten so angry that I couldn't sleep. And I guess watching this man suffocate the life out of another man, and he had no remorse whatsoever. And I guess the shootings, I don't want to say you become numb to them, but
desensitized. We become desensitized.
Yes, yeah. It's just like, when kids grow up in rough neighborhoods, and they're so used to the gunshots, like it doesn't, it's just another thing. But to watch this man kneel on this other man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
7 minutes and 46. It was
actually, 7.
It was 7:46.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, someone said it was actually 7:46, not 8:46.
Okay. Yeah, you're right, Allison. They do. But the look in his eyes, with his hands in his pockets, and that EMT yelling, "You're killing him." This is someone who tries to save lives for a living, and she could see that he was in distress. There was no remorse. There was no, oh crap, but let me make sure that he's okay. I don't know. It was like the light switch went off.
I got you.
And it was just like, so then I just became obsessed. And it was just like reading and reading and reading. So then it was, me becoming a sponge and trying to soak up everything. Don't get me wrong. There were things that I knew.
Right.
But I saw them in a different light after George Floyd.
Right.
And, when Ivy said, I want to do a podcast, I was like, yes. Right. Right. Because it's like, there's so much that, sorry, my hair is getting in my way. There's so much that, like, I've wanted to say, that I've wanted to express, that I know people want to express. And this is a platform where people can do that. Let's see what one of our viewers, she says, to be honest, sis, the murder of Ahmaud Aubrey is what woke me up. Yeah. And, it's sad. It's just, this man was out on a jog. But I will tell you, the murder of Ahmaud Aubrey reminded me of when they used to hunt blacks down back in the day and lynch them just because. They would just run after them in their trucks, with their hoods on and this, that, and the other. That's what that reminded me of. But I don't know, the thing with George Floyd, my heart hurt. Not to say that my heart didn't hurt for the others, but there was just something about that just, it sparked outrage everywhere. I mean, you know, we've been upset over murders before, but that one got mostly everybody's blood boiling. Whites, black, it didn't matter your color.
Right, and that's why I asked you not why, but how.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, how did that affect you the way that it did? You know, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and we are being hunted.
Yes, we are. We are
being hunted, and a lot of people don't understand that. With me, all of them affect me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some touch me differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So going back to the question, you know, how did it affect you? Not why, but how. I understand why. You know, what happens when you decide that, you know, the last jog that you take is the last thing that you do? You know, had he known that he was going to be jogging and lose his life, would he have done it? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
But I mean, from jogging to playing video games to riding in your car. Now, I want to say something right quick about, you know, Sandra Bland, because there was talk about, you know, she's being disrespectful. It doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter, because if I'm watching YouTubes and I'm seeing people cuss the police out and stab the police and nothing is happening to them, shooting, killing people and going to Burger King afterwards.
I was getting ready to say, you took the words right out of my mouth.
You know, which in my opinion should have been a major boycott. I said opinion of Burger King. You know, but then
it wasn't Burger King's fault though.
No, it wasn't. No,
it wasn't their fault.
It wasn't, but it's just. But you know, keep in mind, it's how it affected me. Think about it. You know, all of our siblings, all of our parents have gone to church. I mean, just think about it. How many times have you been made to go to church when you was a kid? You know, can you imagine going to Bible study on a Sunday 3 weeks after, you know, we spring ahead and it's nice outside and everybody, your friends are playing, but you're being taken to vacation Bible school and you just sitting there. And next thing you know, cat comes in and decides that he wants to execute everybody. So you can't even go into the house of worship or the house of God and feel safe anymore.
Mm-hmm. You can't even feel safe in your home. Your home is supposed to be your sanctuary. You can't feel safe in your home. But then again, when have blacks ever been safe in their home?
Never. I asked my former buddy of mine years ago. He said to me, he said, Les, what I asked him, he said, Les, he said, you know why? Because we were driving through DC, upper Northwest. He said, do you know why white people leave their windows open and the curtains and you can see right through their house? I said, no. He said, because they're free. They're free. If you go back to slavery times, you know, you didn't want anybody looking through your house, your lodging, your dwelling. Because a lot of times when they say out of sight, out of mind, in sight, in mind, you know, well, let me close and barricade the door so the slave master doesn't come by and rape me tonight or take my daughter or take my child. So we still live like that. Mm-hmm. You know, we're not free. We're not free at all.
Will we ever be free is the question.
This is my opinion. You know, we'll never be free. Free from what? You know, free from what? I mean, think about it. In the new book, you know, I asked the question, I said, if our ancestors had an opportunity to come back, to be born again, would they do it? Would they do it? The reason for Black Spasms is to go back and touch the nerve of of people who are desensitized or don't even know what happened. So when they're saying get over it, how do we get over it? You have when you, especially when they have the reenactment of the Civil War. You know,
I hate. I'm sorry, I hate to cut you off. I hate when people say "get over it."
get over it. Yeah.
That right there makes me just want to smack the crap out of people.
Yeah.
But Todd says, "I just want to know what now." It says, "What's?" I guess it's supposed to be what's our agenda. We felt the rage. We felt the. I guess it's supposed to be sorrow. We did the protesting and the screaming. Now what?
Now what? That's it. And you know what? I like that hashtag.
Now what?
You know,
that's gonna be a new hashtag, Todd. Now what?
Yeah, I mean, Kwame Ture said this. The difference between King and Malcolm X was, as where King was a great mobilizer, Malcolm was both a great organizer and mobilizer. We have to find someone or something that is going to either get us to the point where we're organizing and we're mobilizing at the same time. We don't have that anymore. So when we say, you know, now what? We need to organize. We need to organize and then let's mobilize. But the problem is we either have one without the other, and we need both at the same time. I mean, that's a great question. Now what? We've done it. The Million Man March. What happened after the Million Man March? You know, here's one of the challenges. As Black folks, people of color, we have different ideologies. We have different points of views. You know, I say Black people. We have different points of views. We have different languages, different dialects, all types of stuff. It's hard as hell for us to come together. It is very difficult for us to come together. And then we have people who are speaking for us on our behalf all the time. You know, get over it. They're lazy. They don't want to work.
It's a mindset.
Here's something that I hate. I can't stand it. I hate when Black people refer to other Black people as having a crabs in the barrel mentality. If you've ever seen crabs in their natural habitat in water, right? They chilling, right? Anytime you put them in a different temperature, hotter than the one in which they're used to, if you ever seen crabs in a barrel, are they reaching up to pull down or are they reaching up?
Okay, I've never heard that. I'm a crabaholic.
Right.
Okay, grew up in Baltimore, so we did live crabs a lot. My job was to mind the crabs in the barrel. Then I had to put them on ice. And to answer your question, they are pulling down.
They are?
Yes, they are.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you're at the bottom of the barrel, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If I'm in the middle and there's someone that's at the top, my job is to pull you up, or your natural inclination is to reach up and pull yourself up. You're not trying to pull me down. You're trying to pull yourself up.
That's right. That's people. But just the naturalness of the crab is they grab that leg and they actually pull that crab down and they try to climb over that crab. Okay.
I learned something. But I just hate to hear what people say, you know, we have a crab in a barrel mentality.
But I like how you put a positive spin on that. I've never heard that. And that's deep.
It's the same thing as when you call Black people Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? That Uncle Tom is not a negative, is not negative. It's a positive thing. Go back to the episode of the Jeffersons. When he schooled him, he's like, listen, you called me an Uncle Tom. You know, you need to do your research on what an Uncle Tom was. You know?
And enlighten us. What is an Uncle Tom?
You know what?
Enlighten us, because I'm learning. I am learning stuff today.
I'm going to go deeper.
Okay.
I'm not going to come off.
We about to get schooled today, y'all. Hold on to your seats.
It says that Uncle Tom, a Black person who is overeager to win the approval of whites. And that's not what Uncle Tom was. You know, based on what, and I'm going to find it, based on his description of it, and I apologize for not having it, you know, I didn't even know I was going to send for Tom, but we hear stuff. We hear stuff and we run with it too much. Crabs in a Barrel, Uncle Tom, Girl Dad. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I love that.
Yeah, you know, we go back, and if you go back to Black Spasms, you know, I know everyone doesn't have it. The first one, it says, conscious Black people who are looking to navigate through this life are looking for solutions, not sayings. You know, sayings like, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Hell, what happens if it kill you? You know, don't let it work on for. Don't let it work on you. Let it work for you. You know, I like that one, but we don't need any more sayings. We need solutions. We need to be solution oriented. Going back to, I think it was Chef Todd, what he said. Now what? Let's deal with a solution oriented. Let's have solutions that are going to build a base. You know, let's get away from the sayings.
Okay, so Todd says the problem is this country wasn't built with us in mind. We weren't even considered a full human being when the Constitution was written. I will address that in the voting because that's true. So how do you dwell or advance in a system that wasn't built for you? I mean, you don't see fish trying to live on land, right? Whoa!
Guess what? I like that because he's right. Check this out. We were not brought here. We were brought here to be an underclass. What happens? Who loses when Black people win? You know, I like playing with numbers, okay? You know, let's look at 746, right? 7 plus 4 plus 6, right? Is 17, right? 17, break it down, 1 plus 7 is 8. Right? 8 represents money, power, wealth, okay? Look at how much money was generated after the death of my man. And I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to talk in numbers. Who died because an officer had his knee in his neck for 7 minutes and 46 seconds. How much money was generated? A lot. T-shirts came out. You had, I keep this in mind, he's not an ordinary Black man, because I don't think anybody's ordinary. But up until that point, did anybody ever hear about him? So why was he able to get the press that he got? And I'm glad that he did. Al Sharpton was there, Gold Casket, entertainers and athletes supporting this move. What happens when Black people win? Who loses? We're dealing in a time where we're talking about bread and circus. You know, they give us entertainment when they think we're about to go into an uproar. And when we get hungry and we're ready to go fight in the streets, they throw us some bread to curb the appetite. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a 746, which is money. I keep saying it. It's all about money. Ain't a damn thing funny. You got to have a con in this land of milk and honey. So to me, Kanye West, that was a con. Him meeting with the current administration, respect to you, Nikki. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, it pumps money. You know what I'm saying? And money is flowing. But who's getting this money? And
top 1%.
Right. And reparations is not paying a sister off or her family off because you went into her house. That's not reparations. That's not repairing anything. That's not reparations. You know, this system was not designed for us. We are underclass to these folks. You know, it don't matter what you drive. If you drive this, it don't matter. You know, what do you call a Black man who drives a BMW? You know, what do you call a Black man who used to be the president of the United States of America? It don't matter.
So I will say that just a little tidbit on the voting thing, that in Mississippi, and hang on, let me go to my notes. In 1960, 1962. Okay. They had on their voter registration application that you had to be able to read or interpret the state's constitution. I said, I didn't even know Mississippi had a constitution. But
Alabama was the same way.
they changed it
Mhm.
to say that you had to read and interpret certain questions on the voter registration form. But this allowed even blacks who were educated, college degree educated, this allowed them to not grant them the right to vote because they didn't interpret it the right way. So again, voter suppression. But we'll get more into that next week. But that what you said reminded me of that.
When you mentioned Mississippi, right? It took me back to the song by Nina Simone. You ever heard it? Mississippi Got Down. You know, it says, you know, Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest, and everybody knows about Mississippi. God damn.
So Todd says, yep, money was generated. They found a way to capitalize on it. But what laws changed? What legislation was rewritten? None. The same powers that are still there and thinking to themselves, it'll blow over and we'll just go back to normal.
Yes. So, yeah, he's absolutely on point with that. And, you know, it's all about money.
Ain't a damn thing funny.
Damn thing funny. You got the pecan in this land of milk and honey. And it's a con. And you're right. We need more Malcolms. You know, we need more Malcolms. We need more organizers. We need more mobilizers.
Do you think that comes in one person or multiple people?
Multiple people. The reason why is because what Black people need to do is we need to take a lesson from the white community. Okay. Black people are assigned leaders. White people have leadership. It's a big difference.
Yes, it is.
It's a big difference. You know, we get leaders. That's why people are leery when you see people like Kanye West decide that, you know, he wants to be a leader, or he speaks, or Jay-Z speaks for us, or Ice Cube, you know, or when you look at Snoop Dogg, who went from Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me to hanging out with your girl, forgot her name.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad. Then you hanging with Lee Iacocca before that, years ago, you know? Listen, that's spasms, you know? And I didn't even really go hard because it's crazy out here. I mean, it's crazy out here. I didn't even, you know, one thing that I always talk about is black on black spasms, Bobs. To me, the biggest perpetrator, one of the biggest perpetrators of black spasm is Clarence Thomas.
All skin folk and kinfolk.
Skin folk and kinfolk. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's your color is not your kind. But in the old book I wrote in you know, because there was a book written about him, you know, and I wrote that this man was the same man that was afforded the education that he has via affirmative action. So the same bridge, and I like, Chelsea, you got to do this. I know she's working on this. Chelsea's real busy. I chill from throwing stuff at her. You know.
We keep her busy.
Have a bridge that says, you know, affirmative action, right? So you show Clarence Thomas on the right side of the bridge with his robe on, with a bomb in his hand, throwing us fire, setting the affirmative action ablaze. But you got a long line of black people who are waiting to cross that same bridge. The same bridge that he was afforded an opportunity to go over to get what he got, he's torching it. And then let's move on. Anita Hill.
Everyone says saying this. I can't wait for things to go back to normal. I always think, why do you want to go backwards?
Ain't no more normal.
Nah, normal is out the window, Allison.
And guess what? Pretty soon, this will be the norm. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, the new normal, right? But you know, Clarence Thomas, black on black spasm, right? That was who we had. The new generation, you know who their Clarence Thomas was?
Who?
Ben Carson.
Ooh, ouch. Stop hurting him. Stop hurting him.
You know, how do you go from Healing Hands in Baltimore, to now? I mean, it's like, okay, you got a job, you're a Republican, okay, cool. You know, take your job, work. You know, but I don't even think that's him. I'll be honest with you.
Stick to what you know.
Stick to what you know. Correct. You know, it's amazing because, you know, you go to church and all of a sudden they start you out in the usher board. You're a junior usher, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so next thing you know, they want to promote you to deacon. You know, then you fail. Right? Stick with what you know. You know what I'm saying? Just because someone you know, all advancements aren't good advancements.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, how can you be used against your own people? I don't get that. I don't get it. A black on black spasm.
But that's what people will call an Uncle Tom. And I wish you could find what you were looking for about Uncle Tom. So because I want to hear the positive spin on that. I like to be educated. I like to know stuff. So if you can find it, bear with us, guys. Hang with us. He's looking for the Uncle Tom, and I will. Once we get off, I will look for that episode of The Jeffersons where. So did George school?
No, he got. Come on, George gets schooled. He don't school.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, and that was his role. His role was to be the one to jump out there all the time, and he got schooled all the time. You know what I'm saying? Now there were a couple times in which he dropped some signs. I give it to him. You know, but yeah, no, the guy's like, you know, if you knew what Uncle Tom was, you wouldn't even call him that.
Okay. Oh, so the guy who played Alderman Davis on Good Times,
yes,
was the one who schooled George. Okay, yes. I got you.
Yes.
And I wish that I could play this on here, but I can upload it so it'll be ready for next week. But okay.
Yeah, and
that works.
We don't, and I apologize because I didn't know that I was going to bring it up. We don't really, as Malcolm said, we don't deal with critical analyses. We're not critical. We're not intentional about our learning. Amos Wilson has a book, Blueprint for Black Power. It's like 863 pages. Oof. Yeah, you know, he did that on purpose. I'm gonna give you some good wintertime reading. This is what he said. You know what I'm saying? Something to think about. Black Spasms is not 800 some pages. Black Spasms is quick conversations, you know, that will get you to think about yourself. And in the last book, it says, "What is it with Black people and self-hatred?"
Mm.
We know what it is. I mean, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know where it comes from. You know, I last month I was talking to an associate, Jermaine, brother in the Bronx. I get to meet him. But this cat dropped so much science on me, it's deep. So we were talking, and he put me on the phone with Peter Brown. And we were talking, and then Stacey Patton, I've been watching her, you know, my buddy's been sending me a lot of her information. And she has this pledge that we shouldn't spank or beat our kids anymore, right? So I came home and I apologized to my daughter. I said, never again will I pop your butt for not doing something that I asked you to do. I said, because what I'm doing is the same energy in you that was put on our ancestors, you know what I'm saying, by slave masters. Mm. So we are, when it comes down to this self-hatred thing, you know, why? And I read something the other day that says a lot of times with females, their mother is their first bully. How many young girls' mother was their first bully? Mm. Now we get into a mental health issue. Mm-hmm. So you understand where the self-hatred comes from. Malcolm said, who taught you to hate your black skin? Who taught you to hate your hair? Who taught you to hate your lips?
I used to get teased for my lips when I was in school.
I got teased my big soup coolers.
Yep, that's what they called me. They said that I had soup coolers, and it wasn't until I became an adult where I learned to love and appreciate everything about me. And that's one thing when I had my daughter, is that I taught her, because I feel like in the Black community, we don't teach our kids how to love themselves. Because a lot of times we don't love ourselves. So we don't know how to teach our kids to love ourselves. But when I was taught how to love myself, I passed that on to my daughter. I would tell her that she was beautiful, not from the outside. I would tell her why she was beautiful from the inside. Outer beauty is secondary. Inner beauty is primary.
Outer beauty doesn't even exist.
So I would say you're beautiful when she got older, and I would say, why are you beautiful? And she would, she would recite to me what I would tell her and stuff. And I said, you have to love you first, because when you love you, you won't stand for a lot of things that you stand for now.
Yeah.
You have to know your worth. And as Black women, that's one thing that I feel like we don't know. We don't know our worth. And I know that Ivy and I said we were going to do a show about that. We're going to do a show about Black hair. And I mean, if you look at the commercials, it's blonde hair, straight blonde hair, or straight, brunette hair, whatever. That's portrayed as beauty. Why? Blacks are some of those beautiful people on earth. We come in all shapes, sizes, and colors.
Oh, I mean, from Ethiopia on down.
Yes, we are gorgeous.
Let me say this, because I until you, like the question that I asked you earlier, not why did his death affect you, but how did it affect you? We see a lot of our darker skinned brothers and sisters, and they're struggling with their skin complexion. Oh, I don't think I'm pretty enough. Or I think I'm ugly. Or I'm too black. I'm too dark. And we say, yo, you're black. Be black and proud, right? I went to Cabo San Lucas for the first time, and I was warned, take hat, sunscreen, everything. I'm like, man, I'm cool. I don't need that. I came back blacker than the Nation of Islam. My lips was black. My gums was black.
My gums.
Ceiling. And for the first time in my life, I could associate with how our brothers and sisters must feel. I felt bad. I had to wake myself out of that. I had to wake myself out of it. My lips was black. All of this was blacker than this jacket that I have on. And I kept it. So now when I talk about Black is beautiful, I've experienced, being that Black. You wouldn't recognize me. I was praying for the winter. But, I say that you said when we talk about, we need to love ourselves, right? And you have a daughter. I have an 8-year-old daughter as well, right? And this is what I tell her. When you ask someone a question, if someone says to you, let's make love, right? It's the first thing that comes to the average person's mind. Even if they're virgins and they've heard a song, what's the first thing that comes to their mind? Sex. Make love. If I say, so what do you need? What do you need to bring to the table to have sex? You need to bring your body, your mind, your spirit, your consciousness, right? If I say to you, yo, let's make a cake, right? What do you need to bring to the table? Flour, sugar, water, milk, whatever.
Eggs.
Eggs, all that, right? Butter. What ingredients do you need? Someone says, I love you. Because love means different things to different people. Right? This is what I told my child when she was young, 3, 4. Instead of us saying that we love each other, let's say this: I enhance you, I empower you, I grow you, I nurture you. If those 4 criteria aren't being met in a one-on-one personal relationship, platonic, sexual, spiritual, if those 4 criteria are not being met, there is no love. Black people need to get to the point where we start to enhance, empower, grow, and nurture. Because if your only understanding of love is being punched in your face, then when someone says, I love you, you're going to go back to that mindset. And then if you don't know how it is to be loved, I am creating an environment for my daughter that the first cat that says to her, I love you, she's going to laugh. She's going to laugh. Like it says, it was on Instagram. It says, you know, take your daughter places. Let her travel, so she doesn't get excited when someone's dusty son want to take her to Atlanta for the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or like my child. Oh, you know, honey, you know, I want to take you to Red Lobster. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing against Red Lobster. I've been going to Red Lobster since I was a kid. As a matter of fact, we didn't even eat Red Lobster. This is the mindset. I'm not teaching her to be bougie. I'm teaching her, if anyone wants to come into your space, if they're not enhancing you, if they're not empowering you, if they're not growing you or nurturing you, they don't love you. So go back and have that mindset of Martin and Dragonfly Jones. It is a privilege for you to know me. You know what I'm saying?
But that goes back to what I talked about knowing your worth. Mm-hmm. When you know your worth, if, like you said, if those things aren't being met, then you can kick rocks.
Twice.
You can kick rocks. You can kick rocks. We have been on here almost an hour and a half, and
kicking me off now.
Well,
you called me. You know, I'm just talking out of time.
Listen,
you called me. I was asleep. You called me.
Well, I don't know what our viewers are doing.
Out of my sleep.
It's Friday. I don't know what people got going on. Y'all know that I'm doing my cigars. My pairing is my white wine. Okay. And Allison taught me a fun fact about cigars smoke.
Yes.
So smoking jackets back in the day and still now are made out of velvet. And the reason that they're made out of velvet is because the velvet repels the smoke smell.
Okay.
So velvet looks like this. It's fabric, but it's because it's woven, it's separated and it's woven together, you know, really tight. But cotton is like this. So cotton absorbs everything, whereas the velvet repels it. So I did some research after Allison and I finished talking, and men would come and they would take off their suit jackets and put on their smoking jackets. And they actually have smoking shoes. So they would take off their dress shoes and put on smoking shoes to protect their clothes from underneath. So that is a cigar fun fact that I did not know. So Allison, thank you very much for that. Mm-hmm. I want to thank all of our viewers today for hanging in there with us. I will be back next week, and hopefully we'll have Les back with us next week because, like I said, I've learned a lot. And let's find out the Uncle Tom thing because I want to know that.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. I think I got it, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'll wait.
No. Do it now. Do it now while we talking about it.
Well, I like to keep people. No. I hate making people wait. I don't know if it has anything to do with Josiah Henson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he was an abolitionist.
Yeah, you know? I was looking it up as you were talking.
Yeah, so I want to get more into that so we can stop calling people names, you know, Uncle Tom, and which they're not, because you know, if you give me a compliment and everybody thinks, you know, it's negative, it's derogatory, and it may not be. You know, I'm gonna accept it. Yeah, call me an Uncle Tom. You know, call me. I'll be that. And
Charlotte says, for the Uncle Tom part of the conversation, the character was seen by many readers as a groundbreaking humanistic portrayal of a slave, one who uses non-resistance and gives his life to protect others who have escaped from slavery.
That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlotte, for that history lesson.
Thank you. Yeah. Please share that if you want. You know, go on Black Spasms, put it up there. Yeah, but see, so therefore, we may be Uncle Tom's right about now.
We might be.
So yeah,
might be.
If you guys will have me.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've been waiting for you to get settled and all that stuff. You back now, so
I'm not. I ain't back yet.
well, you got a whole week. You got a whole week to chill out.
Yeah.
So like we said, thank you guys for tuning in. Les, thank you so much for your enlightened outlook on things. Thank you for educating me on things that I did not know. And like I said, next week I will be doing a series on they call them, so Charlotte says now, no, what she says? She says they call them Uncle Ruckus more often now. Boondocks. I love the Boondocks.
When he say, color folks talking about save me, wasn't nothing wrong with slavery. At least we got the food back then. Uncle Ruckus, yes. Yeah, yes.
Uncle Ruckus with his reverse velago.
I want to do a quick pairing as well, right?
Okay, cool.
Every now and again I will have a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that people should indulge in things that they're not knowledgeable of and stop doing things that, we need to stop doing things as a fad. Will I go out and invest in a velvet jacket? Yes. You know what I'm saying? I want to smoke a pipe. I'll be honest with you.
I got pipes too.
It's something about that tobacco, man. And I'm not advocating that people go out here and just start. But, my grandfathers used to wear smokers jackets and I don't know if he smoked a pipe, but I like pairing books.
Oh. Okay.
We need what is it? An unbanded cigar, right? We need either your choice of wine, your choice of bourbon, scotch, or a smoothie. But I don't think anybody's gonna have a smoothie and a cigar at the same time. A black Spasms candle, which we hopefully will be getting soon, that you can light that and get that white supremacy off of you. And a book that's going to help you and understand that the more we deal with these issues, the less emotional we need to get and tap into our critical analyses so we can understand how to defend ourselves, how to defeat white supremacy if we ever can, and how to cope with white supremacy. So let's get our unbanded cigar. Let's get your drink of choice, be it water, whatever it is. Let's get a black Spasm candle, and then and I like that. And then, as a matter of fact, let's go get you some black Spasm soap to wash that white supremacy off of you. Every time you walk out the door, you're getting it. And let me say this for the non-black audience as well. You guys are dealing with this as well.
Oh yeah.
Because Dave Chappelle broke it down. He's like, he was talking to folks in West Virginia, and he's like, he doesn't work for you. He works for me. I'm rich. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's dealing with these. It just so happens that I call it the black spasms. You know what I'm saying? Comfort associated with being black. Now we're saying ... in America.
So let's talk about some of our products. Go to Linktree /Black Spasms and follow us on all of our platforms. There is the link to our Black Spasms store where you can find all of our merchandise and our products there. They have everything. They got skirts and pillows and backpacks and iPad scans and iPad, phone covers and shirts and sweatshirts, all kinds of stuff. So we will continue to produce these things and things of that nature. So hopefully the candle will have some sage in it so we can eradicate these black spasms.
Yeah. We're gonna try one with frankincense. Yeah, we're gonna try both. And get this energy up off of us, so we can go out feeling renewed, feeling good about ourselves, enhancing. Go out and enhance a black person. Enhance all people, empower all people, grow all people, and nurture all people. But let's focus on enhancing, empowering, growing, and nurturing each other, and see we can love each other later. You know what I'm saying? I want to be. Don't love me. Enhance me, empower me, grow me, and nurture me. Please love me later.
Well, if all of those things are being met, love comes naturally.
And that's what it is.
Love comes naturally.
E,
Love.
E plus G plus N equals L. Enhance plus empower plus grow plus nurture equals love.
Awesome. And I just want you to know, because I know you're in the numbers. I found out last night that my life path number is 9.
What does that mean for you?
They said that it really described me. The fact that I am
A humanitarian.
that empathetic. I'm big on energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on helping people and wanting the best for people. I tend to put myself before others.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow. It was spot on.
Let me tell you what the challenge is with that 9 energy, because that's my life path as well.
Oh, cool.
It's my reason for being. This is why we're here now. The 9 energy people have a downside, and that is we help too much, too often, helping the wrong person at the wrong time. What a 9 energy person has to understand is who to help, when to help, and how to help.
And I've learned that. I have learned that. And you have to set boundaries, because if you don't, you will literally wear yourself out. Right. So that's one thing that no is a positive word.
No,
I used to think that when I said no, that I was being mean. I'm not, because you have to protect yourself. You have to protect your energy, and you have to be careful of who you allow in your space, in your energy. And I used to think that that was being mean, like I said, but as I've gotten older, not everybody has your best interest at heart.
Right.
You know, so I'm very particular about who I allow. I mean, my circle looks like a Cheerio.
Right. My friends don't come in shapes, but I understand what you said.
It's real small. It's real small.
I have a word for no now. It's a new word that I use, right?
What is it?
You may want to hashtag this. Hurry up, everybody else gets it.
Okay.
Hashtag EPON.
EPON.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me look that up real quick, y'all.
There's nothing to look up. You just got to write it. Hashtag EPON.
What does it mean?
Spell it. Sound it out. EPON.
EPON?
EPON, right?
Mm-hmm.
EPON is NOPE spelled backwards. So someone asks you to be like EPON.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
People like us who don't know how to say no. EPON. Say EPON, right? And then by the time they figure it out, yo, I need to borrow $5,000. EPON. Right. And then they come back like, you didn't give me the money. And then hold it up to them, say, take this and put it in the mirror. What does it say? Nope. You know what I mean? As a humanitarian, we have to come up with ways that protect our energy. I am big in the numbers. If anybody you want to, I don't call it a reading because I'm not reading you. I'm giving you an analysis of yourself based on your name. Especially Black people, we need to know this information. Hit the website, then we'll take care of it from there. But if you have a 9 energy life path or a 9 energy reason for being, your purpose is to help people. But keep this in mind, you're also going to attract a lot of people that need help as well.
Yes.
Just because somebody throws a ball at you don't mean that you need to catch that ball.
But it made sense to me because I used to always wonder why I could be in the grocery store and people always come up to me and just want to start talking. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why in the world do they do this? Mm-hmm. I had a lady, I was in the cereal aisle, standing there just, looking at cereal, trying to figure out which one I wanted. She came up to me and just, started talking. By the time we were done, this woman had shared her entire life experience with me. We were both in the cereal aisle crying and stuff. And I guess I just have that type of approachable energy where people feel comfortable. I mean, total strangers come up to me and talk to me. I used to think it was a pain in the butt, but now I don't. I've come to the acceptance that that's just who I am. And if I feel like I can help them in any way, then I do. I mean, that's just, I've always been that way. I feel like my grandmother is the one who made me that way. She always told me that you try to help people, and that's just how I live my life. Trying to help people. I mean, I've given homeless people my last, whatever I had on me, and it's because I know that I've got more coming, and they might not know where their next meal is. I mean, when I used to work in DC, there was a homeless guy that I used to pass every day. So I started packing 2 lunches, one for me and one for him. And he would look forward to me coming off the metro. I would come up the escalator. He'd be sitting right there, and I would just give him a lunch. And he was like, he thanked me because he said, "You are the first person that looked at me as a human and not as an object."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get it.
And that's
I get it.
We're looking for. We're not looking for people to bring us a sandwich, right? We're looking for people that recognize us as being humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a slogan back in the day that says, "We're not looking for a handout, just a hand." Right? What we're looking for now, we don't want pity. We want equal rights.
Yes.
Right? That's what we're asking for. And
yes.
Sometimes, we don't want affirmative action in terms of it being a handout, because it's not a handout. Because if you do your research, we weren't the only ones that benefited from affirmative action.
We're smart. We built this. We helped build this country.
Yes, we are extraordinary. And I asked the question: if you knew that you could apply for the position of God or devil, would you? You know what I'm saying? If the position of God was available, would you go for it? No, I would. You know what I'm saying? But think about it. It speaks to how incredible we are as a person. When you thinking that I can think God-like terms, in terms of elevating consciousness, in terms of how I perceive things, in terms of how I do things, we don't have to maintain this mediocrity. We don't have to stay in this mediocrity. Black people are some beautiful folks. That's why, as a humanitarian, Black Spasms is about not bashing anybody. We're not bashing. We are about communication, liberating. I won't even say mobilizing and organizing, because we're not an organization. We are a reality that the pain and discomfort associated with being Black. Now it's going to be the pain and discomfort associated with someone that is Black.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a Black child now. Like I said, this is at your doorstep now.
Mm-hmm.
So no longer is it going to be ding dong, mommy, the niggas at the door. You know what I'm saying? Because the niggas going to be within. Or as Gil Scott-Heron said, didactic niggerisms. It's out there. It's so much stuff out there. So yeah, we are beautiful people. We got a lot of things that we need to work on. Who loses when Black people win? You know what I'm saying? Will we ever be created or treated right? Wrong. We won't.
I think that nobody loses when Black people win. I think we all win when Black people win.
Who's going to babysit your kids? When Black people say, "I'm not washing cars anymore. I'm not," and you know what? You don't see a lot of Black people cutting grass anymore, do you? You know what I'm saying? I have a former supervisor tell me one time, because he was making a comparison between the Ethiopians and the Black people, right? And it's crazy because he's from India, right? And he was a Republican. I'm like, yo, man, where you from is like poverty. You know what I'm saying? So but he had the nerve to be a Republican in his mind, right? So, well, you don't see Black people out here. Look at the Ethiopians in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, my man, Black people are tired. We've been Black all our life. We built this country. We didn't wash your clothes, wash your cars, watch your ass kids. What I'm saying? We've done all. Black people, they don't want to do this anymore. They don't want to do it anymore. So don't capitalize us and say that we're lazy. We don't want to work. We're tired. You know what I'm saying? We're tired. When old people at their deathbed, they be like, "I'm tired."
Yes.
We're just tired, man. Treat us with some dignity.
At the end of the day, we're all human. You cut us, we bleed the same color blood that you do.
Yeah.
So, and that's what, people fail, to realize. And it's like Allison and I were talking, and I said, this whole white supremacy thing, I said, they act like we chose to be Black. We didn't choose to be black. You were born the color that you were born. And why is it that because your skin is fairer than mine that you feel like you're better than me? But I would tell you this. If I had to choose what color to be, I'd be black.
I'll be black
all day, every day.
You know
I wouldn't choose to be any other color. And I believe that our history keeps us strong. It keeps us strong. We are a people that just will not go away. We like roaches. We won't go away. You can do whatever you want to kill us. We're going to keep coming back even stronger.
The history is being eradicated, though. You know, and that's so. What are we going to have? That's the reason why I wrote Black Spasms, so we can have this information, because they're doing away with books. You know, what are the kids going to refer back to? You know, can I give them the Black Spasm commandments?
Sure, I didn't know we had some. Yeah.
The first one is 11 of them. I will always respect my blackness. Okay.
Okay.
Tell me which ones you like. Number 2, being black is not the problem. Not being black is. Number 3, I define myself by my blackness. Because before you was anything, you was black. Number 4, before I was anything, I was black. Number 5, this is biased. God is black because I'm black. Number 6, this is biased. I am black because God is black. You know. Number 7, black is more than color. It is essence. Because you need my ignorant self. I go into Walmart one day trying to get some paint, and I was like, I need some like green paint or something. Yeah, but the machines are down. I said, yeah, but you know, I'm in a rush. I'm trying to get what I need. You know, but the black is down. I'm like, okay, so what? I just need green. There you go. Black created that. I got it. Okay, I'll say my fault. It's, you know, I was in a rush and I wanted what I wanted. Number 8, there would be no other colors without black.
Amen. Say that again for the deaf folks in the back.
Number 8, there will be no other colors without black. Look at the vanilla bean.
Hello. Go ahead. It was number 9.
9, to be or not to be black. That is the question. It's a little Shakespeare for you. Some black. Number 10, black is and always will be beautiful. And number 11, I will always stay black.
I like number 7.
Number 7, black is more than color, it's essence. Yeah.
Yes. That's deep.
It is. And everybody got some black in them. You know,
that's deep.
Hey, do you have any black in you? No. Would you like some? You know?
Everybody has black in them.
Everybody has black in them.
Everybody has black in them. Even the whitest of white have black in them, because you can't produce without black.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't produce black from white.
No. So does everybody have white in them?
I never thought about that one.
Because I mean, you know, it's like, you know, everybody, no one's just straight black. You know, you got a little bit of this in you, and you got a little bit of that in you. But if black is essence, if everything comes from this color black, then do we have anything else in us? We may look a certain way, but at the essence of who we are, and everything goes back to its essence, right? So everybody black. Can you imagine everybody on the planet say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud? Everybody.
That'd be a beautiful sight.
Everybody, you know, or who was it? Who was it? He said, and I'm paraphrasing, was KRS-One. He said, what goes around comes around, go figure. Now you got white kids calling themselves niggers. I didn't been in the bookstore. I done heard Asians be like, yo, my nigga talking to themselves.
Yes.
And I'm like,
it's like they want to take our culture but not give us credit for it.
Or they want to be black in theory. Everybody wants to be black in theory. They want to have Big Johnsons.
They want to have lips, our breasts, our butts, our thighs,
pants. all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be black in theory until they get pulled over.
Say it again.
Everybody wants to be black in theory until they get pulled over. But guess what? Now they want to show their white identification card, not identification card. Their white identification, white defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
White identification card.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, but hold up, nah. I've been trailing you for the last mile. Everything that came out your car was like, fuck the police, nigga, this, boom, boom, nigga, this. Now I pull you over, you want to put on your suburban voice. But I'm white. You wasn't white a mile ago. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to be black in theory. Well, I tell you what, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to give it to you real. Get out the car. You know what I'm saying? Get on the ground.
I wondered this. I wondered if there would be change if the officers treated whites the way they treated blacks. If they were pulled out of their cars and harassed and shot and knees put on their necks.
Yeah. Watch this. When it comes down to stuff like that, black people get registration. White people get legislation.
Boy.
You know what I'm saying? You know, think about it. I've seen so many people, Caucasian women, protesting in Target because they don't want to wear a mask. I'm with them. I get it. I understand what they're saying. We're an American. And you black people like scratching their head like, are you serious? You're taking away our civil rights and liberties. Are you serious?
Listen, when I heard that,
yeah,
the one that got me was when this white lady in Michigan had a sign that says, we're being treated like slaves. No, hun, you're not being treated like slaves. You weren't whipped. You weren't pulled out of your cabin in the middle of the night and raped.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't laid on the table and had medical experiments done to you. So don't you ever in your white life compare wearing a mask to slavery, because you know nothing about it.
Right.
Don't speak to what you don't know.
Right.
That right there, that angered me. That angered me to like no end.
I got you.
So, you know, don't try to say that my civil liberties are being infringed upon.
But to them, they are. You know what I'm saying?
Because they've never been treated this way before.
Right. They don't have a point of reference.
They don't.
Yeah.
You don't have a leg to stand on.
But you know, let's go a little deeper if we can. Black parents would beat their black kids just so the system wouldn't beat their black kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So look at our reference point. You know, we are still getting the results of something that happened many years. It started then, but it's still going on now, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see a white person, you know, they're violating my rights. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely positively correct. Your rights are being violated. But welcome to the club. Or as Bernie Mac said, welcome to the stripping game, partner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, because we on this pole too. You know what I'm saying? We are on this pole. And we've been pimped out. We've been pimped out for years. Yep. Now is the time that we do not get pimped out anymore. But what I'm seeing now with multiculturalism is that it's eradicating Black history. And we're going to get to a point where we're not going to know people like Frank Wills, Breonna Taylor. What was that? She may be the one that they talk about like they did with Rosa Parks. You know, think about it. Are we going back? You know what I'm saying? In a circle or in a cycle? You know, and then what happens when they're no longer talking about her because we're now dealing with a different civilization of androids. You know what I'm saying? So we're not talking about. They're gonna be like, you know, well, who was George Floyd? You know, he was gonna be like George Washington, and it's gonna be like, did he really exist? You know, I mean, it's so much that we're dealing with as Black people, and like I said, if we keep our wits about us, if we stay safe, not afraid, but be mindful of what's going on. And like I said, everything that's your color is not your kind. All skin folks and kin folks, you know, and things are black and white. And the person that says, I don't see color, run.
And on that, guys, we're going to go ahead and hang it up. Thank you, Les, for this. This has been a wonderful 2 hours. Thank you for all those who have participated with your comments and stuff. I really appreciate it. We will be back next Wednesday at our normal time at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I am doing a segment on voting. I believe Ivy will have IOU done by then. So grab on your hats. That's probably going to be another 2 hour session. So she can tell us about IOU. She's keeping it under hats. We have no idea what she's doing. This is her baby. So
I dare not ask her either. You know what I'm saying? She won't even give it to me.
That's what I knew it was big when she wouldn't give it to you. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. The voting thing has been on my heart for a while, and watching the videos that I saw, that was just confirmation. Like I got to do it. So
okay. I mean, if whatever we need to do, and you know, our opinion is our opinion. Whatever we need to do to create a better world existence. Some people think voting is the way. Go for it. If that's what you think you need to do, get out there and do it. If you think that's not for you, don't do it. Don't criticize or chastise, and don't criticize or chastise. Right. You make a decision, but whatever you do, always remember 2 things. I leave everybody with EPON. You know what I'm saying? We can't do everything, and when it comes down to yourself, enhance, empower, grow, and nurture yourself. And when it comes down to your people, enhance, empower, grow, and nurture, because that's the ultimate test of love. That's ultimate love for me.
Exactly. All right, y'all. So you guys have an awesome, awesome weekend. And be back here Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Really appreciate the support. We out.
Peace.